Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go.
And yes, let's go. It is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I tell you what, I can't believe it, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders are, just give me 1 second here. I'm just changing my audio to make sure I've got it all lined up for you. Okay, so the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 4-0. 4-0. Their first 4-0 start since 2013. It's crazy, but it's true, as the defense comes up big and the Roughriders walk away with the 30-23 victory over the Toronto Argonauts. I am Michael Ball, and I'll be joined by Manny Arsenault in a second. I want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. First and foremost, first out of the chute, District Brewing, as they here, let me get this in the camera here. District Brewing's got their mango lime and passion fruit lime super squeeze seltzers in Saskatchewan liquor stores. So thanks to them for getting on board. Also want to give a shout out to Mr. D's Stats, Cocktails and Dreams and Cravings, 1832 Victoria Avenue East. They give tickets away at for every home game at their establishment, and for the away games, when you watch the games there, they give away jerseys. All right, let's welcome in our friend Manny Arsenault, who is watching the game. First of all, Manny, happy 4th of July. How did you spend the Independence Day?
Man, out with the family. They barbecued, a lot of folks over, and they still celebrating, actually. So we hanging out, I'm still here, so I can make sure I'm on the show.
Yeah.
So, the family out and about right now. So, we did the cookout down south, brisket, everything you could think of, mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, potato salad, bundt cakes, peach cobbler, the whole nine, everything.
The whole 9 yards. I guess I got to ask you this, because Joey Chestnut today pounded like 53 or 57 hot dogs in 3 minutes. How many hot dogs could the Manny Show eat in 3 minutes?
I don't know, because I don't eat hot dogs.
That's awesome. Hey, speaking of hot dogs, there were some hot dogs on that Rough Rider defense. They were flying around out there. Let's get a shout out here for a couple of guys. First off, we've talked about him before. Roland Milligan, this team really missed him last year, and he is showing what he could do in that secondary for the Rough Riders.
Yeah, physical style of play. I remember facing them when they came to Edmonton, what it was last year before last, one of those. Physical guy, can play, be where he needs to be, but he got that physicality that defense need, and you know what? He can be a real key piece to that secondary, So it was good for him to be able to show up in a big way to set his resume and put on film what he's capable of doing, not only for Saskatchewan, but the other 8 teams around the league.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's get to the phones here. So here's the deal. If you want to be on with Manny and Ballsy, here's what you do. Make sure your camera's on so I know you want to actually join us, and then we'll get you on here, which I think we're going to do with Roger and his son Jake on with Ballsy and Manny. How's it going, Jake? How's it going, Roger? What'd you think of the game?
Well, it was a little scary to start there, but like I said, I'm a defensive guy. I just knew the defense would come through, and again, they did. They made that quarterback look average, whereas the rest of the season he started out pretty hot. So
yeah. Absolutely. Jake, what'd you think of the game, bro?
It was going good. I don't know, man. It's rough and a quick start game.
Yeah. It was didn't look so great for Shea Patterson at times there, Raj, but the defense played a pretty solid game for the Rough Riders, and we expected that from a Corey Mace led defense, right?
For sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Take care. Appreciate it. Thanks for paying attention. We do appreciate that. Manny, it's funny because you and I are texting during the game.
Yeah.
And you're like, they got to go quick game with this guy. They gotta get the ball out quickly. So just talk about what you saw there after about midway through the first quarter, or at the end of the first quarter. Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator, started to do what you were kind of intimating via text to me.
Yeah, man. At times you play it safe. You're not trying to put your quarterback in a position to where he feels as if he has to do everything to win a game. And you want him to be able to lean on his teammates. And that's why I was saying, go quick game, get him in a rhythm. If Toronto going to bring pressure, knowing that he's not an established guy, Let them have a hot. Let them find somebody to go to. They getting upfield, put the screen game in. So it's really about getting Patterson the confidence to stand back there, knowing that he doesn't have to do it all to win this game, and defense going to have his back and put him in a position to where this team can win. And it was just what happened. Like, Mark, get in the playbook. I know he's not Trevor Harris. He knows that. But give him plays, that's this professional football. You know what? Sometimes that little cookie cutter vanilla stuff, it'll get you beat. But they was able to get into the playbook. Guys was making plays. Schaefer Baker physical in the run game. I seen them blocking DNs coming across the formation, fighting for extra yards. Emily's made a heck of a play down there. So they just gave Patterson something to work with. But that's good for the team because it builds confidence in that locker room and give them opportunity to believe that the backup gives them a chance to win ball games or at least keep us in the game.
Well, here's the thing. You can't expect Shea Patterson in his first start, that was only Cameron Dukes' sixth start, right? You can't expect Shea Patterson to drive the field time after time. You need to set him up with short fields. It's Mario Alford with a return, or you got some turnovers, right? I think they had like 20 points off of turnovers today on short field. So that's a winning formula for that team right now.
Right. Then you got two coaches that know each other very well. They was just on the same staff, 8-9 months ago, last season. They was on the same staff. So they kind of familiar with one another. You know what I'm saying? Sass figured this is a team that we got to run the ball on. You know what? That's what's going to get it done for us. Or you got Josh Bell, Corey Mason, them that was on that sideline covering defense last year with Dinwiddie. So they kind of know, what to do. It's like a game of tug of war. And bend but don't break. But apparently Toronto, they broke. And it came down to the end. And you know what? My hat off to Duke because at 20-12, they down by 8. He drives the field, 2-point conversion. This is a tie ball game. You know what? He caught my attention then. But I was like, you know what? In any sport, turnovers will get you beat. But that atmosphere in Mosaic is the best one. It's an audition for what the playoffs going to be like. And I said, you finna find out what this Toronto team is really about, being on the road, playing down there in Regina. So now they got some work to do, but you find out what you made of when you go down there to the Sea of Green.
Yeah, no kidding. But you know what's interesting about that? And I don't know if it's because it's Thursday night games. I know why they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. They're doing it for TV and the ratings, right? That's what they're doing.
Right.
And the ratings are good. But Thursday night game's not a good draw anywhere right now. There was only 23,000 at that game, an announced crowd of 23,000. So you say it's loud, and it is, but it's not as loud as it could be even.
Could be,
you know
right. Yeah. Let that been a Friday night or a Saturday. Man, the field would have been shaking, but I don't care what day it is. They can play a game on Tuesday. Saskatchewan Roughrider fans going to support their team. And if the one's not there, you best believe they watching it. But yeah, that's the game, man. Them the games you can't let slip away. It could have went either way, Toronto's or Saskatchewan.
Now, I want to ask you about this. Corey Mace, a very demonstrative coach on the sidelines. He's just removed as a player, okay, just like yourself, a few years older than you. But what do you I see Mario Alford with a kickoff return, goes left to right, zigzags up their sidelines, out about the 50-yard line, and Corey's the first guy to meet him and pat him on the back and cheer him. Do guys gravitate to a guy like that, demonstrative, kind of a quote-unquote players coach like that?
Yeah, because they know that coach has their back, so they're going to do whatever and go over and beyond. They're not just going to go check the boxes to get the job done. And then they're going to have that whatever it takes mentality. And that's what it is with Mace. These guys want to play for him, but the biggest thing is the buy-in is there. You know what? Fans might have been skeptical about it at first, but now the buy-in is serious. They winning. They've been in tough positions, came back, find ways to pull games off. And it's all about the buy-in. And right now, he has the buy-in from that locker room. He has the buy-in from his coaches. And those players can relate to the coaches that's on staff. He took former or just previously removed guys, put them on. Because nowadays, you got to be relatable. And if the players can't relate to the coaches, it's going to seem like it's some disconnect. which might not be on the field, but it's going to come from the admin side, because how you going to lead a bunch of guys who aren't willing to follow?
Christian Kopp says defense. He's pumped. Kirkland Manlin says, wow, I wasn't expecting that tonight. Our defense is looking good. Still unsure of Shea, but he's definitely improvement over Mason. I don't know that Shea Patterson is an improvement over Mason Fine. I didn't think Mason was terrible. Shea Patterson did what a backup, I guess, is expected to do. Don't hurt your team. And if you can eke out a victory or 2 victories till your starter comes back, Manny. But we see this time and time again. And you and I were kind of joking back and forth. Well, I was joking. Just because you play at Michigan, just because you play at a big school, it's not professional football. We see guys like that come up here time and time again. And I mean, I don't know. It's still too early to make a judgment on Shea Patterson. It's his first ever start, but just assess me through a former professional's eyes, what you saw from Shea Patterson tonight.
All right. He let the world know that he can be a number 2. And if he keep playing well, he can be a potential starter. So what he did was he dressed up his resume, because a lot of people expected him not to do what he did tonight. They just knew, you know what, this is a game Sask going to drop against a Toronto team. But you know what? He proved everybody wrong. But reps build confidence, and I think he can get better as he plays. He's mobile. He can use his legs, and he can make throws. It's just about him just being comfortable, getting in and out that huddle, and just being able to lead a group of men day in and day out. But I'm glad he got a taste of getting his first start. So now the way he prepared, the way he go about his days, and the kind of confidence he walk around is about to be different. Now you're gonna see fans patting you on your back, cheering you on, happy to see you. And it's like, you know what, I gotta play for these people. And that's how Saskatchewan, the community, treat you. They acknowledge you no matter where you go. But this was big for him, because I'm always cheering for guys being able to jumpstart their career. You know what? It came due to injury, but next man up, and he got the job done.
Yeah. Dukes looked rattled as the game went along. Talk about that Riders D line. That is and what a D line like that can do in terms of helping your back end out. A back end's best friend is a D line, and vice versa. D line's best friend is a great secondary, and they seem to work in sync. But you take a look at that gray beard, Micah Johnson inside, and then you got Anthony Lanier II. Those guys wreak havoc in the interior there.
Yeah, man, you adapt and you adjust. That's why you got guys in the press box. You got extra guys on the sideline relaying messages. What's working, what's not working. And that's what I think Saskatchewan did. They adapted, they made necessary adjustments, and they won the game in the second half and in the fourth quarter when good teams find ways to win ball games. That's all it is. Guys stepped up, made plays. Duke wanting to do too much, wanting to win the game for his team. And you know what? That's expected. But he got kind of greedy, went places with the ball he shouldn't have went to, because when he watched the interceptions that's on film, a 5-year-old not to throw those passes. But he's just trying to create something. But it's a learning process, and can't take nothing away from the kid. That's one game, so don't let that dictate the rest of your season or your career. Yeah. But both have potential.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm glad you bring that up, right? Because we're so quick to talk about developing quarterbacks, and then when they get a chance to play, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be things they got to, figure out, right? And that's what I know. It's a win now business, professional football. You got to win, but how do you develop a quarterback if he doesn't get game reps, right?
Exactly, and they don't get the bulk of practice reps because your starter got to get prepared. But I think that's the huge decline when speaking of backup quarterbacks. They getting out there, hell, like it's preseason, just wanting to run around for their life and just throw the ball up to who they think is open. So you know what, it has its pros and cons, but you got to find some way, man, to get guys more adapted to the CFL game. And what if this situation occurs and you have to play? It can be an injury mid-game. But
yeah. So you talk to me about How long did it take you to figure out the waggle and your timing and things like that? We saw a couple of bad offside penalties on the waggle, and refs are generally pretty like the actual rule in the CFL is you're only allowed to have 7 guys at the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. 2 wide receivers, if that's who's lined up on the line, and then your lineman. But generally they'll let you waggle to the line at the line of, at the snap of the ball. But in this case, there were a couple of guys way offside. How long did it take you to get down the waggle, get down that timing?
Man, this professional sports. I got the waggle down when I needed to and showed up in the BC second, third day of camp in Abbotsford College. It don't take rocket science to learn how to waggle, but most guys go off sides because either the ball's supposed to come to them or they got to do the clear out route to open it up for somebody. That's what it is, a lack of focus, a lack of discipline. So that's all it is. Guy go off sides, they must was about to get the ball. Guy go off sides, he forgot the snap count. Like, it's just a lack of focus in that moment. And most refs give you that grace period or that 1 yard. You used to see receivers take that skip in the air so they don't cross over the line and just know what. But to be well off sides, that's just a lack of focus. And I don't cut none of these adults any slack because this is pro football. Stay on side.
Yeah. Those are the penalties the coaches hate. So I'm curious to ask you this. What were you thinking when you first came up here and you're like, did you have to ask anybody, like, are you kidding me? I get a running start? I got to get a running start?
Like I found out early, like I lined up almost stagnant. Then it was like, nah, you can move. If you're on the ball, you move side to side. If you're off the ball, you can waggle. But see me, I'm a football player, not just an athlete. I had to read up on the rules, listen and practice, watch the vets go before I go. So it was a no-brainer and common sense. You're dealing with a different batch of athletes these days. They're not the brightest thinkers. And you know what? The sense of entitlement is at an all-time high from going to these different universities or being the best. So people hold your hand your whole life. But at the pro level, now you got to figure things out. So that's another problem you're dealing with. You just relied on pure athleticism. Now at the pro level, you got to actually learn football. And that's what's costing a lot of teams when you're looking at the 0-4 clubs, team 1 and whatever. It's just a lack of discipline in football common sense. They lack it.
And you know what's interesting about the CFL? I talked to the Rider strength and conditioning coach Dan Farthing about this earlier in the week on my regular show, Ballsy Uncut. We were talking about the fact, like, you've been in the NFL, you've been in the CFL, you've been in college. In the CFL, they can only keep you for 4.5 hours, 4.5 at the facility. So you have to be a disciplined professional to be in the Canadian Football League, don't you? Like, you're not getting your hand held. You don't have to be. In the NFL, you're in the facility for 10 hours. Here, you can go home, play video games, do whatever you want. It's on you to be a professional.
Yeah, and that's what they're struggling with. But the product shows on game day. Like, that's what it is. Why the buy-in ain't there? They show up on time and leave on time. They're not staying extra. They're not applying themselves. And what it is, it's causing people not to fill those seats. It's causing organizations to lose. Because the lack of integrity and responsibility and accountability on these athletes that's thinking this is just a paid vacation or something. I don't know what they thinking, but they just watering down the product, but they relying on pure athleticism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Gary, who I think wants to weigh in. Gary, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Gary, what'd you think of the game?
Our defense is awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty good defense, no doubt about it.
So far in this year, they're easily the best defense in the league. Montreal's got a good one, but the Riders are playing with a lot more heart than BC.
Who's your favorite defender on the Riders?
I pretty well like them all, but I sure like Roland Milligan.
Yeah, he seems to be everybody's favorite. How about Jameer Thurman? He's been a ball hawk. He got his 4th turnover credited to him today.
Missed a few tackles tonight, though, which you usually don't see him do.
Yeah, he made 6, though, so 6 is the last I heard. What'd you think of the quarterback play?
Well, it started out slow. Well, that was to be expected, though, eh?
Yeah, it was to be expected, yep.
And then Mueller started coming up with some quick plays for him and got the ball out a little quicker, and
yeah,
that was the difference, eh?
Yeah, for
He didn't
sure.
have to do, he didn't have to do much, and he didn't force any balls, you know.
No, absolutely. Protected the ball, and the Riders won the points off turnovers to the tune, I think, of about 20-0. But anyways, thanks for the call, Gary. Appreciate it, okay?
Thank you. Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. Take care. That's Gary Fleming joining us. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you a question here about the touchdown pass to Sam Emelis. It was a hot play. They obviously had 7 versus, I think, 6 or 5. So you got to get the ball out hot. Just talk about the chemistry that goes on between the quarterback and the receiver. As a receiver, what are you watching there, and how does your mindset change from when you get to the line of scrimmage there?
Hey man, you better know that ball got to come out hot and be ready. But what he did was got upfield, made a man miss, and you do what you do. He did what he's paid to do, make plays. Kudos to him on doing that. And he could have easily went down, but you know what? They fighting for every blade of grass that's out there. So, quarterback gave him opportunity. The receiver made the quarterback look good. Nobody had any selfish penalties. You know what? Walk this thing to the end zone. And you know what? That was great job by the SAS offensive line, being able to buy that piece of time, knowing that they bring it more than they can block.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Yeah.
Talk to me about Emelis's game. What do you like about Sam Emelis's game?
Man, you know what? I just started watching it recently, a year or two as he started to emerge. And I think he can be a consistent household name up here. And he's Canadian too, by the way, right?
Yeah, that's right. They have a few
so
receivers, yeah.
Exactly. So man, I think what he's doing is great for the CFL game. And he done caught my attention within the past year or two. So now I'm just looking forward to this consistent work. He's a 1,000-yard caliber receiver year in and year out, if you ask me.
Yeah, Roger just asked, did Toronto lose their timeout on the challenge? They did lose it on that challenge when Dukes got hit in the head there. And so they were down a timeout. I often wondered this. Should the NFL's a slower game, Manny, and they have 3 timeouts. The CFL is a faster game. We only have 2 timeouts. Do you think we should have an extra timeout in this game?
No, don't change it. Keep what make the CFL the CFL. Yeah, you're getting tired of these rule changes, watering down the product, trying to do what everybody else does, man. What they used to say on the ball when I first got here to Canada, this is our game. Keep it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's why we stole. Well, they used to have the slogan. They dropped it. That's why I bought it. Our balls are bigger, because our balls were bigger for a while.
Yeah.
They changed the CFL and NFL ball to be the same, but the NCAA and Canadian college ball are a little different. The NCAA ball is a little smaller than the Canadian ball. I want to talk to you about this. You see Coxie. There was one with Coxie and another with, I forget, one of the other receivers. Ball bounces off his body, doesn't catch it in his hands. Does that drive you nuts, not catching that football in your hands? Because it one led to an interception. The other one almost was picked off by not catching a football in your hands.
You know good well that grind my gears, and I hate body catchers. You getting paid to catch a football. Reach out there and extend for the ball and catch it. Do the fundamentals that got you to where you at. But it happens, and like I say, lack of focus, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. What kind of drills do you teach your young kids? Because you're a coach now, Manny, the mentor, in terms of catching drills, the high point the ball, those type of things.
Yeah, you catch the ball with your eyes, look it into your hands, extend, pluck it out of the air. Eyes all the way through the tuck. But we go snatch rebounds in basketball. You take the ball out there, fingertips, don't let it hit your palms. 50-50 ball, go up for it, jump through the DB, get a PI call, or he get dunked on. But I like to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's a hitch, a slant, a go ball. You want to be aggressive and take that this ball belongs to me mindset and approach whenever it's in the air. But
I'm glad you brought that up, because on the one interception to Williams that he got, the Williams interception for the Riders, seemed like the Argo receiver didn't really fight for the ball. He didn't like box him out. There was no aggression there on that one play.
And that happens sometimes, So Now they know you got to fight for every one. Bail your quarterback out, pass interference. I'll tackle a DB back in the day. Before you catch this ball, I'm about to tackle you before you even get it. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? But that's
Mhm.
just building that relationship because I know when I played, it was against the law to let anybody pick off a ball thrown by Travis Lulay. And I'm around. Nah, you ain't about to pick off my quarterback ball, and I can do something about it. But yeah, you just gotta have strong hands, man. Go attack it. But I know, depending on the situation, where you at on the field, is it a contested catch? Most people feel safe being able to body it up to protect the catch and come down with a completion.
Want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors, Ward Tirecraft, 101 Dudney Avenue here in Regina. You need tire and brakes? They can help you out there. You can ask them about their payment plans. Also, they got tires for your cars, trucks, or trailers. Check them out, 101 Dudney Avenue. And Payson Insurance Services. Kevin's a former Regina Ram and Western Mustang D lineman, coaches over at Miller, and he works with families and small business to medium businesses, helping to maximize their financial security. I actually went and got some life insurance from him recently. It's not something you want to think about, wills and life insurance. You got a will, Manny? You got a will? You got life
Um,
insurance, dude?
yeah, I just did the whole life insurance
Yeah.
policy, man, and where it
Yeah.
has its perks as it mature.
Pros.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, as it grows,
Yes.
another vehicle for your money,
Yes.
being able to borrow against it and do different things down the line to kind of set yourself up where you're not using the bank's money. But yeah, so yeah, I learned about that a year ago. I
Yeah.
dropped some money in it before I went up to Edmonton. So I'm learning about that too as I'm looking to get my certification in that and also real estate too. Because
Nice.
everyone needs it, but when you're not educated about it, you don't know what you don't know. You're thinking, why I need this here? I ain't about to die right now, or how that's gonna benefit me. But from a
Mm-hmm.
financial standpoint, you know what? There's a sweet return on your investment if you can let it mature and grow. But that's financial literacy, and that's what most people never want to talk about because they feel as if you're trying to tell them what to do with their money.
That's 100. That's 100% right. There's two things that to trust your other people with your kids and to trust other people with your money. But you're absolutely right. People don't like to talk wills. They don't like to talk life insurance. And I didn't realize there's different kind of life insurance, like the one I got initially when I was diagnosed as a diabetic, and then one that matures, like you said. So if you have any of those issues, go see Kevin Payson over at Payson Insurance Services in South Regina. And this guy I can speak to does a great job. And you can talk football with him too. That'll be half the conversation right there. Manny, talk to me about running a couple of routes and how you help your quarterback out. Dukes is rolling out to his right, and he throws a pass to the receiver, and it almost gets picked off. It's kind of a wide side out there. How as a receiver, can you help that be complete? It was the quarterback was late with the throw. I know that, but how can you create separation as a receiver there?
I always come back QB friendly, fight for the ball, switch your angle, or do something to box out the defender. But a lot of times it's being on the same page with your quarterback because most of the time you want them to throw you open. But when the quarterback's late with the ball, your only option is to come back, fight for it, and hope it don't end up in the defensive back hands. So yeah, quarterback got to give you time, man. If he's late, anything can happen. That's why they tell quarterbacks don't throw against the grain and
Mhm.
don't throw this ball late on any outbreaking route or something when you know it should have been released.
Yeah.
You're
So
gambling.
and talk to me about, I don't know if it was a true back shoulder throw. Coxie's going down the sidelines by the Riders' side, and he kind of twists and makes a great catch. But talk about the art of the back shoulder throw. And if you do it right, it's basically indefensible. Just talk about
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. You can't stop it. You can't stop. You can't defend a good throw. I don't care who's playing defense. A good ball, there's no answer for it. Point blank. And that play he made was great because that's the momentum that they needed to silence that Mosaic Stadium for a minute. And he had that big catch on the sideline to get his team in position to make something happen. But yeah, you want a guy that can go up and make that contested catch, that hard catch, man. That's what you get paid the big bucks to do. Make those type of catches.
So the Rough Riders pull away with a 30-23 victory over the Toronto Argonauts, and we talk about building that early season equity. Rough Riders off to a nice 4-0 start. And you look now coming up tomorrow in Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers don't have Zach Collaros. They're taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks, who have 2 wins in the win column. Winnipeg slips to 0-5. That would be beneficial for the Rough Riders. They're already. We talked about this, Manny. It's a race to 9 games in this league to make the playoffs. Riders are almost halfway home when you think about it.
Man, that's what it is. These teams keep losing, man. I might have to come out of retirement. Hey, look.
Get all limbered up, eh?
Look, yeah, let me go run some hills tomorrow, man. They see that these young guys helping them do one thing, not win games.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, Manny, well, I'm going to do you a solid. It's an Independence Day. I'm going to let you go put the kids to bed. And I appreciate that. Maybe we'll catch up with you later in the week. You can join me on the weekly show, okay?
Yeah, hit me up during the week, man. Anytime, fans appreciate y'all. Y'all the ones that make this game go. Y'all the ones that can drive podcasts like this. So continue to tune in, continue to lock in, retweet, repost, whatever. And each week, man, tell a friend about it. We got to get more people on here. That way, get that open dialogue going.
Absolutely, man. Have a great night, okay? Happy Independence Day.
All right, thanks a lot.
Take care, bro. That's awesome. Thanks. That's Manny Arsenault. We'll stick around here, though. We'll take some more chats. If you want to call in, you can absolutely call in, and I'll talk with you. I wrote down a whole bunch of points here about this football game, and it was quite a matchup with 45 versus 48. AJ Ouellette versus Wynton McManus, 2 old teammates, 2 bulls in a china shop. And I would think Ouellette got the better of him. He didn't have a spectacular game, but he churned out some tough yards on the ground. AJ Ouellette's presence is enough to help out an offense. If Trevor Harris is in there, obviously Trevor's the leader on the field, and the passing game would be more dynamic. But when you got the young quarterback in there that has better legs than Trevor, even when Trevor's healthy, you can run the RPO, and Patterson can get outside. One thing I noticed about, and it was a gutsy move too, by the way, by having Frankie Hickson back on the roster and pulling Miles Brown off, who's a great young interior D lineman. Who's great against the run. And you knew that the Argonauts would try to establish that run with Kadeem Carey. Those were the 2 best run defenses in the league. Riders number 1 and Toronto number 2. And the Riders run defense was pretty good until later stages of the game when Kadeem Carey was picking up some steam, but they took away the pass from the Argos. So pick your poison. But anyway, what a killer defensive line the Rough Riders have. Like, that defensive line is swarming. They played a very good Bo Levi Mitchell. They played a real good McLeod Bethel Thompson. So you can't say they haven't played good quarterbacks. And Cameron Dukes was having a pretty decent season until tonight's football game. So the Riders defense is the real deal, and they steal a victory. I did pick them on Ballsy's best bets to win. I did pick them to cover the spread when I bet on the game tonight. So I made a little money tonight, but I was talking privately with one of my listeners, James Hamilton, and he was all along Riders by 6. We had Keith Willoughby on here, the dean of the Edwards School of Business and the dean of our show. He does the CFL simulations. He said, hey, the computer says Riders by 5, and the Riders eke out a 7-point victory. They had 5 turnovers, and I do believe it was 17 points off of turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, or 20 points off of turnovers, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals on those 4 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery. And on that note, how about CJ Avery, man? CJ Avery has had he's had 2 interceptions to clinch the first 2 games. He had the deflection to Jameer Thurman, who went back for a pick 6 against Hamilton. And then he forces the fumble that's scooped up by Jameer Thurman to start the game, and the Riders turned that into a field goal. So CJ Avery, definitely an outstanding find for the Rough Riders. Today's game featured 2 great linebackers, McManus on the Toronto side And you had Jameer Thurman, who I picked him as the defensive player of the year in the CFL, and he's off to a really good start. Yes, as I think Gary pointed out, he did miss a tackle or two, but he made 6 tackles, had the fumble recovery, and is flying around and really wreaking havoc in the middle of that Corey Mace defense. Let's see what else we got in terms of comments. Jamie Ballsy, how about Milligan? Yeah, the only thing I don't like about Roland Milligan's is number. 0 is a dumb number. It's a dumb number. Steve Kleinsaucer says, hey, Ballsy, I guess you were the problem. You jinxed the Riders. Just jokes. Great show. Yeah, I was waiting to see how many people would blame the Riders' fortunes the last couple of years on me. I actually think a couple people did blame it on me, if you know what I mean. This from Ward Zaharia. Was this a Rocky Butler-like performance? Maybe. I think Rocky was a little more dynamic in that early 2000s Labor Day game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Ward's referring to. Shea Patterson was serviceable. But just because you're a big-time quarterback in a big-time program doesn't mean it's going to translate to the CFL. Now, listen, that was his first ever start. The kid didn't turn the football over. He has an awful delivery. I've never played professional football, but he's got it's halfway between a short, it's a weird delivery. It's kind of knuckleballs it out there. Not like Phillip Rivers where he shot putted it and will probably be in the NFL Hall of Fame, but he kind of knuckleballs it. It leads to being batted down and kind of wonky throws. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his delivery, but as Christopher Lee Simon said, Patterson looked good after the first quarter. He looked okay, but I'm going to say something right now. I don't care what anybody says. I'll love my Americans like Manny Arsenault, 2 of the best players in Rider history. Have statues out front there, Americans, Reed and Lancaster. And this guy's going to be on Ballsy Uncut tomorrow. He is Mason Nias from Regina. He's actually going to be quarterbacking Canada in the World Flag Football Championships because his team that he put together won the national championship. He's a quarterback at UBC, and this kid was ripped off of the Heck Crichton Trophy a couple of times. But he went to the Vanier Cup twice as a player and once as a coach. Almost could call him a Buffalo Bills mascot the way he's lost in the Vanier Cup. But this kid was working out in the offseason, throwing the ball with Nathan Rourke, Cameron Dukes, Mason Nias. I refuse to believe that Mason Nias, Andrew Buckley, who's now a doctor making more than he'd ever make in the CFL, or Adam Sinagra, the 2 latter names I mentioned, played for the Dinos. Those are just 3 off the top of my head. I refuse to believe that those quarterbacks are not better than what I watched tonight on that football field with Cameron Dukes and Shea Patterson, with all due respect. But because of coaching bias, because of American bias in the CFL, we don't even give these kids a shot. We don't give a shot. Mason Nias, that's not my story to tell. But Mason Nias was not going to get a fair shot with the Rough Riders. That's the bottom line. I know for a fact he was told 2 different stories. This is going to happen. No, this is going to happen. And he decided he's going to go be a coach and be a high school teacher. For God's sakes, when we do the combine, we don't even have the fucking quarterbacks at the combine like they do in the NFL. The most important position in football, in any football league, the CFL, the league where you throw at 75%. Okay? U Sports football. We don't even give these kids a chance. And you're going to tell me that the shit I watched today for 3.5 quarters is better than Nias, Sinagra, and Buckley? Bullshit. That's bullshit. And we need, the problem is everybody wants their kid to be an NHL player because he can make millions. He can be a millionaire. Your kid has a better chance of being a professional football player in Canada than he does, and playing in front of more fans than the hockey players play in the rink. He's got a better chance of being a professional football player in Canada than he ever will being a hockey player in the NHL. That's a fact. That is a fact. Believe it, don't believe it. That's the truth. Okay. But the thing is, you don't make that much money being a professional football player. I don't think 75, 80, 90 grand for 6 months of work in the CFL is that bad, to be quite honest with you, for a 23 to 29-year-old guy. But that, my friends, that what I saw out there was a joke. And the fact that Canadians already are told that basically you're not going to play. You're just not, you'll be a camp arm and you won't have a chance. And yeah, just come throw at the combine for us. It's bullshit. Why does nobody else get mad at this? Why does Nathan Rourke was the talk of, and Nathan Rourke's otherworldly. I get it. I'm not comparing Mason Nias, Sinagra, and Buckley or Noah Picton to Nathan Rourke, but there could be more Nathan Rourkes out there. There absolutely could, but we just dismiss them. It's narrow-mindedness. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Think of the jerseys that would be sold. Mitch Picton, I bet you if you walked around that stadium, and when Manny Arsenault talks about a guy being a pro, that's a fucking pro right there. Mitch Picton is a pro. He does what he's told. He knows all 6 receiver positions. When they needed to clinch the game, where was the ball thrown? To 81, Mitch Picton. 81, go around the stands. There's more Mitch Picton jerseys there than Shea Patterson jerseys. Maybe not after today. All I'm saying is Canadians at the quarterback position deserve a chance. And think of the money. We're talking about how do we get people interested? You don't think that Jake Flair that was on the show with his dad, Roger, you don't think he'd look up to a Nias or a Sinagra or a Trey Ford? Right away, we're ready to dump Trey Ford. Trey Ford's on the shelf now. That's a Chris Jones decision. That's fine. That's fine. Are you going to tell me what you saw tonight from Cameron Dukes and from Shea Patterson is better than what Trey Ford showed in his time? Come on. But he went to Waterloo and Shea Patterson went to Michigan. Well, sorry, but Shea Patterson padded his stats against Appalachian State and Indiana, and then he shit the bed against Ohio. I'm not crapping on Shea Patterson. He is in his first start, and I wish the kid well. I want to have that next wave of quarterbacks, and these guys had a bad night, okay? And Dukes has been decent before, okay? And I've never played professional football. I get it, okay? I'm just a 51-year-old guy sitting in my home studio talking CFL football. But I know what I know. I've watched enough football, played enough football, coached enough football. There's no way you can tell me that if those kids that I mentioned, if Trey Ford went to North Dakota State, if Mason Nias went to UND where my kid played instead of going to the U of S, if Sinagra went to whatever, pick a Northern Illinois, they would get every chance to play in this league. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. Sorry, man. I can't buy it. And kudos to Shea. He didn't turn the football over. Cameron Dukes had a really bad day. He made throws like Manny said that 5-year-olds shouldn't make. This from Corey McKechnie. They're finally playing like a team. They have that hunger to win that wasn't there the last 2 years. Yeah, you need a new voice at times. I'm not going to throw Dickinson under the bus. I refuse to do that. Craig Dickinson was a pretty good coach. In 2019, nobody was bitching about Craig Dickinson with a quarterback nobody knew about, Cody Fajardo. They were a crossbar away from going to a Grey Cup. In 2021, after all the Achilles and 18 guys on the injured list, they had 5 turnovers in Winnipeg, and Cody couldn't convert those into touchdowns and points, and they lost to Winnipeg. And then 2022 and 2023 were shitty years for a number of reasons, including some coaching decisions. Absolutely. There's a new voice. This guy has got them playing well. They're buying in, and kudos to the Roughriders. They are off to a 4-0 start, their best starts since 2013. You cannot take that away from them. I've got a lot of friends on that team. I'm not cheering for them, but I have a lot of friends. I'm cheering for the guys, but I'm not cheering for the team per se. I have my reasons, but kudos to them. They're off to a 4-0 start. That defense, they say defense wins championships. That is a championship defense right there. They are flying around. The linebacking core, Thurman, CJ Revis, we know he's a great player. This Avery kid, another CJ, the DNs. I'll tell you what, Brian Cox Jr. is becoming a force like his old man, flying around out there. He's making plays, and if he's not getting to the quarterback, he's making the quarterback step up, and then a guy like Micah Johnson finishes him off. I want Micah Johnson, man. That was a great signing at a discount price, and this dude is he's money, and he's a true professional, and he's going to be as much as Trevor Harris is a leader on offense, this guy's a leader on defense for Corey Mace, one of his old teammates. So, you got to be smiling if you're the Rough Riders. That is, that's unbelievable to be 4-0. This one from Cayman Miller. Unbelievable win. Duke sucked tonight. Threw into triple coverage a few times and looked plain elementary out there at times. Shea stepped up so big after a shaky first quarter. If he continues to step up, we could have a franchise guy. Made some big throws and stayed out of the turnover column. Mark Mueller got him in a nice rhythm on that second or third last drive of the first half. Cayman, I think he did play better after the first quarter, no doubt about it. I don't know if he's a franchise guy, but hey, it's only his first start. So hopefully he can learn from this, and it's better to learn after a win than a loss, right? And it didn't look so good when he was 1 for 6 for 12 yards. So kudos to the kid. Kudos to the kid. And I want to take nothing away from him. I don't want to getting back to him like it's got back to other quarterbacks, namely one who plays in Montreal. Shea Patterson did what he had to do. Mark Mueller did a great job going with the quick game to help his rattled quarterback out. And he settled down. The receivers helped them out, made some big plays, and they got the win. And that's all that matters. So, onwards and upwards from here. From Avery LeBlanc, good young broadcaster. After one win with 5 weeks to go until Harris is back, what's both your record prediction for the Riders? Week 6 at BC, Week 7 Winnipeg, Week 8 at Montreal, Week 9 Edmonton, Week 10 at Ottawa. Okay, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with injuries. I had the Riders going 1-3 over this 4-game stretch. I think it's going to be 4, not 6. I think my sources are telling me Trevor will be back closer to 4 than 6. But let's just go with 4. I had the Riders. I did pick the Riders to win this one. Even though privately I kind of said I could see the Argos winning by 4. I bet on the Riders, and I did pick them on Ballsy's best bets. So I said this is one they could steal, and I have them beating Winnipeg here. So I have them going 2-2. So that would put them at what now? So they're 4-0, 5-0, 5-2, and then you get your quarterback back. Can you imagine if they can have Trevor Harris engineering this offense with these receivers, and if they can stay healthy with this defense, and we're a long way from anywhere, but 4-0, they're halfway home to a playoff spot. And that's all you got to do in this CFL is get to 9 wins. 9 wins gets you a playoff spot. That might for sure get you a crossover, but 9 gets you a playoff spot. I'll tell you what, you got to be smiling like a butcher's dog if you're a Rough Rider fan. So I got them losing at BC. I got them beating Winnipeg here, and I got them losing in Montreal. I don't think they're in Montreal's class right now. I think Montreal's got the best defense, even though Gary called in and thought they didn't. I think they've got the best defense. Montreal Riders would be second. It'd be 1A, 1B right there. So I got the Riders winning against Winnipeg, losing against BC and Montreal. But the funny thing is injuries can happen. This from Jamie. Roland Milligan, what a gamer. Yeah, he's always been good. I love Roland Milligan, not only for what he does on defense, but also on special teams. Shea for mayor of Regina, John Ohm says. Yeah, that's how Rider Nation is already. I don't think you were saying that after the first quarter. BC is next week, so here we come. Yeah, it's going to be good. And if you are in the BC area, they're opening up the Upper Bowl. Apparently tickets are $25 and $17. Rider fans always travel well. I was there last year. They got the watermelon smashing and eating contest before the game. Amar Doman's doing a great job there. He is really trying. This from Roger. Roger said, great show. You were spitfiring all night. Yeah, thanks, Roger. He's got to run. Got to probably go hang out with Jake and do something else. Tim Jorgensen, I'll be in Vancouver for the game on Saturday, watching the game. Ballsy, how you feeling about our running game? It's decent. Our running game's decent. Ouellette's 5 yards in a cloud of dust, man. He's 5 yards in a cloud of dust. And he's not going to bust the game wide open, but he's one of those guys, as Chris Jones would say, just keep chopping wood. Just keep chopping wood. That's how the running game is. Keep chopping wood. Keep chopping wood. They had Hickson in there for a kind of change of pace. Didn't use him a lot. Maybe they'll incorporate him more. It was his first game action since the preseason. So I'd like to see if they continue that. And the way the D-line's playing right now, they've got some depth there. They sat Miles Brown, which I said was a big decision. Jamie says he loves Manny. I love Manny too. He had to go though. It's a long day, Independence Day, but it's happy he could hang out with us for half an hour. We're going to have Chris Walby join us at times this year. We're going to have Tyron Brackenridge, John Ryan, once again, Chris Getzlaff. I've got a stable of guys. Mike McCullough is going to join us for a few shows. So yeah, this is the post-game show to pay attention to. There's no doubt about it. It is the fastest growing post-game show, not only here, but in the CFL. Like, honestly, nobody talks football. Nobody talks football like this guy. I talk CFL football. Nobody talks it like me. Nobody cares about it like me. Nobody has the intensity or passion like I do for the CFL in this country. Period. There's a lot of pretenders out there, but it's not even close. And all levels of football. Everybody's chasing this guy. And just seeing by my numbers on the screen, I could tell. So tell your friends. I want to thank my sponsors once again. Mr. D Stats, Cocktails and Dreams and Cravings at 1832 Vic Avenue East. Thanks to Jason and me and the gang. They give tickets away for every Rider home game. So when there's a home game, they give tickets away at their establishment. When there's an away game, they give a Rider jersey away. So you can go down there, watch BC Lions and Riders game next week. Ward Tire Craft 101 Dudney Avenue. You can call them for all your service and mechanical needs and ask them about their payment plans. Thanks to Michael Barth and the gang. District Brewing, their Super Squeeze Seltzer. I always screw the camera up here. There it is. Mango Lime, and Passion Fruit Lime at Saskatchewan liquor stores. Thanks to Tim and the gang for getting on board. I appreciate them. And Payson Insurance Services. Kevin Payson is a former Ram and Western Mustang D-line. He coaches at Miller. One of his players, hold on a second here. I got to get this right. Okay. I got to get this right. It's, let me find this here. Where are we looking at here? Sorry, just give me a second here. I'm my own producer. I'm my own everything here. I got to find where I had this here. Right here. Carlos MacArthur, D lineman. He won a gold medal for Canada at the World Junior Championships in Edmonton. He was coached by Kevin Payson at Miller High School. Kevin works with families and small to medium businesses, helping to maximize their financial security through investments and insurance products. Also consults on employee benefit plans and helps with your retirement, estate, and succession planning. I went to the guy. It took me years to get a will. I finally got a will. Then I'm like, okay, I got to get life insurance. I had one life insurance policy, but it only lasts till I'm 65 years of age, and I plan to live longer than 65. Some days my significant other would say, I hope you go sooner. Some days some of you would like me to go sooner, but I'm like, I got to get something else. So he helped me out. It's not an easy conversation to have, but he makes it easy, mixes in football and life. So go see Kevin Payson Insurance Services. And I'm going to have a splash page with all my sponsors this week, so you'll get some more details on that. And I want to thank Nicole and Dean Gerhardt Studios for my social media. They've been really helping me out, and I wrote down something here about them, and I got to mention this, and then we'll get to more talk. There's another topic I wanted to get to, and you guys can weigh in on this too. Gerhardt Studios, a full-service advertising agency with a team of writers, designers, photo and video specialists. We make creative content that sells for your business. I can speak to them. They do a great job. Jason Victor says, Ouellette is overrated. We need more Hickson. Jason runs the Rider Prider fan page. This from Matt Young. Celebrate today. But the BC Lions loom large next week, and they open up the Upper Bowl. Yeah, we talked about that. It's the first big test. No, I can't tell my story yet. Jamie wants me to tell my story. I can't tell my story. I have a severance package. And when you get a severance package, you have to be quiet. so I can be quiet. But once it runs out, I'll be able to maybe tell you some dirt on what happened, your favorite football team. We'll see. I put it to you this way. I know where the bodies are buried. Okay. I know where the bodies are buried. But anyway, we're talking about celebration here. So we're not going to, sorry, I bumped my camera here. We're talking celebration here. So if you're a Rider fan, I don't cheer for any team. I'm in limbo this year. See, I got Stampeder stuff, CFL stuff, Bomber stuff, Argo stuff, Alouette stuff, Rider stuff. I just love the CFL. I've always loved the CFL. This from Ronan. Ronan says, best defense in the CFL. Avery saying, ballsy spitting facts. Ronan again. Shea showed promise. Now he has a win. He's got some confidence. Steve Kleinsaucer. 2019 was a Chris Jones team. Yes, it was. 2019 was a Chris Jones team, and 2021 had remnants of Chris Jones too. So yeah, but Craig Dickinson can only coach the players that he had. It was Jones that left this team late. What are you blaming Dickinson? Dickinson took it over late. Coaching's at a higher level now. I don't know about that. And I'm not dismissing the coaches on this staff. I have friends on the staff. When you're in professional football, I might make comments about Shea Patterson's throwing or Cameron Dukes, as Manny said, and throw it like what a 5-year-old shouldn't do. But I'm going to tell you this right now. These are professional players and they're professional coaches. And nobody's crappy. Nobody's crappy playing professional football. These guys, they go through a shit ton. I was at the I'm sorry, my camera's acting up here. Just give me a second. I apologize, folks. I was at Brickhouse Gym today, and the Argos were in there. 4 of them were in there. Oramalade was one of them, and Jake Serezna, and he was working out. He was working out with his doing a pregame workout. Not overly heavy. Took a picture with the dudes, but I was actually shocked he was in there working out as hard as he was. And then he ends up getting injured, and that hurt the Argos on their D line as Jake Serezna went down early with what looked like a shoulder injury. This from Ronan. He goes, I love Picton. Yeah, I love Picton too. Picton's a great player. Sean Baroshko says, AJ did not come as advertised. He's not what he was last year. I'm kind of worried about the running back position. Well, those kind of plodding backs are going to take their bumps and bruises. He's limping. He's been limping since week 1. He's not going to rush for 150 yards a game. And the Riders don't have the O-line the Argos had last year. The Argos don't even have the O-line they had last year, I don't believe. At least they're not playing that way. Or the Riders D-line is absolutely outstanding. Okay, I gotta bring this up now. $24,000 for a home opener for a 2-0 football team on a weekend, on a Sunday. Okay? On a Sunday. 2-0 football team. And they pound your old nemesis, Bo Levi Mitchell, and they go 3-0. They get a bye week. Shea Patterson comes here. Nice storyline. What will the young kid do? I want to see the young kid. We had less than 24,000 at that game today. And this is what I hear. Wow, the people from PA and Saskatoon and where out of town people aren't going to drive on a Thursday night. You're absolutely right. And I have all the respect in the world for the, let me get a drink here. I've been ranting for a long time. Give me a second. Can you give me a time out here? Thanks. So people have been driving for years, and kudos to them, man. They go to the dysfunctional A&W, dysfunctional family A&W there in Davidson. That's where the divorced parents drop off their kids. That's what I call it. Anyway, and I'm not making fun of divorce, believe me. But they drive from all over Hell's Half Acres. That's why this guy created a 3-hour post-game show so that I could get you guys home. Okay? I could get you guys home. I work longer than I got paid for Rider Nation. I did it for Rider Nation. So you guys, I knew you were talking about it in your car. So I said, let's have a post-game show that can go 3-4 hours. Let's get at least 2.5. Let's get them home. But not everybody shares my vision and not everybody shares my work ethic. So that's why we got the Our Balls Are Bigger post-game show. And hey, maybe I'll go 2 or 3 hours down the line if you show me there's an appetite for it. And I can see already I have 4 times the streams that other people are getting right now. So I can see it right now in my upper left-hand corner. So who knows? Maybe my significant other, I'm in a padded soundproof room in my basement tucked away in the corner, but she might be banging on the roof pretty soon. She's got to work tomorrow. She might say, hey, you gotta go to bed, dude. But I gotta do it for the CFL fans. I'm doing it for the CFL fans, honey. I'm not going anywhere. Anyway, remember when they used to have 20, 30, 40 sellouts? They'd announce it. Once again, Rider Nation, a sellout. I get it's on a Thursday night, but that is a lame-ass excuse now. We have 250,000 people in Regina and surrounding area. And I get the cost of living is through the roof. I have kids. I have young kids. I worry what their future is going to be like. I worry what my significant other's son's future is going to be like. He's owning his own business, but he's just scratching through too. Like inflation, whether it starts with stupid government policies and then it carries over with greedflation, with people gouging people. I get it. It's tough. It's tough to make ends meet, but people will spend money if they're entertained and if it's a fun thing to do. The CFL better look at this very carefully. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers support their team, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the Winnipeg City's a front-running town. They're already getting bored of the Jets, and they didn't go to games that much when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers weren't very good. They've been there the last 3 years. Kudos to them. And who knows, maybe they'll get it turned around. I don't see it with Chris Streveler playing. But if Winnipeg and Regina don't have home games, the attendance drops. Last week, it was just over 18,000. Tonight, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 3-0. This is their first 4-0 start since 2013 when they won the Grey Cup on home turf. And there were less than 24,000 fans there. So where's everybody? Why people will go spend hundreds of dollars to go to the Edmonton Oilers playoff game or to go to a Blue Jays game or to go watch the NFL. You know what's hilarious too? It's all perception and reality. And I got to go watch John Ryan play for the Seahawks. Yes, it's the NFL. But you could have watched John Ryan, Stephen Charles, Akeem Hicks, Tavon Campbell, 4 guys that played in the NFL, 4 guys that played in the league. You could have watched them in Regina for $20 a game with the Rams, and you didn't want to go. Okay? You didn't. Oh, that's Bush League football. Oh, yeah, it's Bush League football. They're playing in the National fucking Football League. And now you'll go spend $2,000. You'll go spend $500 to go watch the Edmonton Oilers play in a playoff game, or worse, $1,300. So people will spend money if you make it entertaining. I bet you a lot of people are spending money to go watch Nickelback and what's his name, Luke Combs or whatever, at $170, $180 for a day ticket in Craven, locally here. You can get decent tickets for the Riders, okay? I snapped up a couple of Labor Day tickets that I'm going to be anyway. I can't really say, but I'll say this. I am giving everything you need away for the biggest summer game of the year. And I bought 2 nice tickets for relatively inexpensive. So don't tell me that you can't find $40, $60, $80 to go watch exciting professional football. Look at this game. It ended 30-23. Last week, there were 3 walk-off field goals. But we should have played in 2020. We should have played in 2020. Bob Young wanted to play in 2020. Did you know that? The owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Bob Young, wanted to play in 2020. And he was willing to put his money where his mouth is. He was willing to foot the bill, or most of the bill, for the bubble, so I'm told, from my very reliable sources who don't steer me wrong. And he was shot down. He was shot down by that. And then that's why, as the story goes, they promised him 2 Grey Cups in 3 years. Remember, he had it in 19 and he got it in 21, and the Riders got the one in 22 because they were supposed to have it in 20. But I'm told that he got 2 Grey Cups in 3 years because he was almost ready to walk. So I'm told. Allegedly. Because nobody wanted to play in 2020. Well, how the hell did that work out for this league? They walked away from 2020 and played an abbreviated 2021, and people found other things to do. I'll go to the lake. I'll sit. It looks pretty good on my TV. So how do you get them back? You get them back by inexpensive tickets. You get them back by not gouging them at the food aisle. That's how you get them back. You get them back by letting them have noisemakers into the freaking game. Let them bring a Rider flagpole in and wave the flagpole. I'm not asking for the flame and the flame anymore, but come on. It's become very corporate. Like I said, you used to go to Old Taylor Field, and I love New Mosaic Stadium, but you used to go to Old Taylor Field, you've seen people pissing in the sink, and I don't want to go back to that. But what I'm saying is, it was like, I grew up in Glencairn. You didn't care if you dropped a cigarette butt on the floor in a basement, or there was a piece of gyprock out. It was a party. It was great. That place lacks something. It lacks character. It lacks party. They got Pill Country. That's great. But it's more than I'm just talking Riders here. It's more than just show up to the game. We play at 7. You go home by 10:30. Now, I think they've changed it before after I've been bitching I bitched for fucking 5 years. Can we keep, ever since that stadium opened, they literally were kicking people out after on the postgame show, turning the lights off on me. And we got 2 vendors there that pay money to have their restaurants there. We got no restaurants around the stadium. What do we got? We got a Dairy Queen on Elphinstone. We got a $300 million stadium that's probably closer to $400 million on the books. 300 million, sorry, not 3 million. And that was Taylor Field. And then we're kicking people out. I said, why don't we have Riders come up on the stage, feed them, they get interviewed, the fans are there, and you have that connectivity. As long as you're feeding the guys, it's sports entertainment. I see Ottawa tried with Big Rec. I see 50 Cent. You got to try. I'm sorry. I like Men Without Shame. Men Without Shame's a great backyard barbecue band. Why the hell is Men Without Shame playing a game? I know it was throwback. It was a throwback game. So it was throwback game. Well, get somebody else. I don't know. Find an old rocker, like an old popular rock. Bring Colin James in and have him play. Like, make it so people want to come. And that won't get the 25, 30-year-olds. You know what will? I'll tell you what will. And this isn't a Rider problem. It's a government problem. Calgary Stampeders do a great job at tailgating, and I can tell you the Winnipeg Blue Bombers do, and I can tell you now, it's not tailgating, but they've opened up the party outside the stadium, and Mar Doman's trying to do something in the street. But that party in the park, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. But this league is going to be built on the 18 to 30-year-olds. It's not going to be built on the 51-year-old guy. They already got me. You need to have the tailgates out in the parking lot. I went to North Dakota State. Kids drinking, partying, older people drinking and partying. They're there at 9 a.m. They pay $300 for their spot. We have the perfect parking lot there in Regina, okay? Right outside the stadium. Let's open it up and let's tailgate. Let's get it going. We got a big concern if the Riders are only getting $23,000 for a 4-0 team. Now, in fairness, maybe they're sitting on this team, even though it's a different coaching staff and everything, because this team was 4-1 and 3-1 the last 2 years, and they didn't win after Labor Day. 0-7 and 0-7. So Though that's the last couple of years, I get it, but maybe they're waiting here. And I think a bit of the fan base wanted to see a clean sweep with this regime. They wanted a new president and they wanted a new general manager. Right now, Corey Mace, Mark Mueller, JC Sherritt, Josh Bell, the new coaches, Daniels. That was a great story too. Philip and Tavares Daniels, the Argos receiver, and you had Philip Daniels, the coach. Right now, this coaching staff has his team 4-0 and pointed in the right direction, but they've got some work to do off the field. They absolutely have some work to do off the field. You can't just rely on selling jerseys all the time. You can't. By the way, speaking of jerseys, the one thing the CFL, let's talk some positivity here. The one thing the CFL has going for it, every team has some good swag. Every team has good jerseys. That was a great jersey combination tonight. The Argos, I like that. And the Riders, that jersey right there is the best jersey in the CFL. The upside down S, the green on white, and the obsidian green they got there. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I thought it was a U of S knockoff, but it's okay. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I would have rather seen like they had 10 years ago with the white road jerseys, old school white jerseys with the green pants and the white stripe and wear the helmet and just go old school this year. I would have loved to have seen that. Those are classic jerseys. Love it. Love it. What else that I wanted to talk about before I packed it in here tonight? That's basically it. Maybe I'll go to the chats here, see what we got, see if somebody else, this from Kelly Marquardt, streaming you live on a 65-inch TV all the way from Emerald Park. Great to see your Picton deliver some clutch catches to seal the deal. What's the record for Rider picks in a year? I have no idea, but they came in +5 today and they got another 5. Coach Mace said this. He said, I want my team to be selfish with the football. They are flying around. And I will say this. I thought he should have been the first choice for head coach. I said it all along. I predicted it would happen. I had some concerns about him being the head coach / defensive coordinator. My old friend Corey Chamberlain knows what kind of pressure that is. And right now it's great, but it's a lot. Your first head coaching job to be a coach and a defensive coordinator. In fact, Richie Hall came in 2013 I know Corey still had a say on the defense, but that was something he relinquished to Richie Hall, who, by the way, should still be running the Winnipeg defense. I'm not going to lie to you. I know they went younger with younger, but Richie Hall should still be running the Winnipeg defense. Anyway, what a great defense they've got here. They're flying to the football. They're taking the football away, and they taught their DBs in camp, don't get so locked in the receiver. We want you to rely on your athleticism, and we want you to read the quarterback. Now, there's feast and there's famine. Sometimes you're going to get beat over the top. We haven't seen it too much. We did see it a little bit in the Hamilton game number 2, like the second game of the season, when it was the one they came back and won. And we did see a deep pass to Coxie, but you're going to get those, the Coxie tonight, but you're going to get those. But for the most part, that defense has been great. But you're going to have feast or famine when it comes to that. And by the way, how about Marcus Sayles? We had people calling in here, and I wasn't one of them. I just read it. Oh, Marcus Sayles. We'll see why BC got rid of him. As James Hamilton pointed out back then in week number, whatever it was, 2, hey, the guy just had a week of practice. Marcus Sayles comes back from a neck or head injury and has an interception for a touchdown. He is like 5'9", 185, and he plays like he's 6'2". That guy's a stud. That is a very astute signing by the Riders, Jeremy O'Day, bringing him in. I'll tip my cap there. That's a great signing, great secondary now. And I always loved Deontay Williams. That kid's a flat-out stud from the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I loved him last year. He was the very last post-game show interview, as it turns out, I ever did on the Rider Radio Network, and he was my defensive game star, and he's picked up right where he left off. This from my cousin Jason, from Ballsy to Ballsy, loving the show. CFL has been finally fun to watch again. Thanks for keeping it real. It is fun to watch. It's a great league. And the teams are finally starting to market the league. They're finally starting to get onto social media and do things like that. And hey, I was slow to social media too. I'm a radio guy. That's how I grew up. But this is the new thing here, right here. This is the new way. And the CFL needs to do what they did with the Andrew Harris documentary. I got about 500-600 people watching live right now. So I need you to hear me. If there's one thing you're going to listen to, do this. If you don't have Amazon Prime, get Amazon Prime. Or if you got Apple, you can do that there. Buy the Running Back Relentless documentary. I think Justin Dunk was a executive producer on that. So 3 Down Nation had a part in it. But whoever helped put that together, and Andrew Harris for stepping up. He joined me on Ballsy Uncut Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here where you're watching this. And he was very vulnerable. He opened himself up, and it is as close to a 30 for 30 NFL films thing as you will ever see. Out friggin' standing. And that is what the league needs more of. We need more personality. We need more marketing. We need more stories like that, more storytelling, more things like this. More things like this. Like, and not just from no team should ever in this league. Okay, so here's how this needs to go. I'm rambling now, but I got no boss, so who gives a shit? The teams need to act like they're the biggest league in the world. They need to carry themselves like they're the biggest team in the world or the biggest league in the world. We're the Toronto Argonauts. We're the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We're worth coming to watch. However, they also have to be humble enough to know that they can't just expect the fans to show up, and they can't big time people. Okay. So when a guy asks for media credentials, or when a guy asks for an interview who's been covering this league for 28 fucking years, it should be, okay, what can we do for you? When can we get it? How do we do it? And I'm not just talking Michael Ball. It could be Joe Schmo, 19-year-old. The name's slipping my mind, but he does public address with me. He helps me out with the Red Sox games. He's a 15-year-old grade 10 lineman / fullback for the Campbell Tartans. And he does the scoreboard of the Red Sox games. And when I'm doing public address, we talk CFL football. This is exactly who you want. You want a 15-year-old kid. That's who you want going to your games and doing that. That's what you want. They have to, they don't like to give tickets away, but they need to. Every kid, starting with the Regina Rams, every kid should have a ticket from Kenaston this way, should get a Rams ticket and a Thunder ticket. Every kid from Davidson that way to Saskatoon should get a Husky Hilltop ticket. And then their parents might come. They need to be able to see, that's the guy I want to be. I want to be that guy. I want to grow up to be Mitch Picton. I want to grow up to be, I went and watched this Huskies game, man. I want to be Adam Mackert. But we don't build these stars young. There's no promotion. Nobody. So you got to promote. The leagues are starting to do that now, or the league is starting to do that now with their teams with that documentary. We need somebody else to step up and get in the broadcasting game. Kudos to TSN, what they've done. I actually like what they've done with their camera work at the games, like the overhead camera with the kickoffs and stuff. And I don't know if it's a drone or whatever, but like you'll see it just spin around and follow the guys he's returning the kicks. That's a cool angle. They're getting into a little bit of storytelling. They could cut back on the in-game interviews for my liking, but they do a decent job. But they need to be pushed. You need to have competition. So they need to be pushed. And I'd love to see another streaming service step up and do that. Okay, coming up tomorrow, we have got the last show of the week. So if you're new to this, Ballsy Uncut is what I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This week it was Tuesday, Wednesday. We got this show Thursday and Friday. So I got a full week. I don't know what to do with myself. So tomorrow, 4:00 live right here. X, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Okay. We will go live and then you'll get it later in podcast form. And we are going to talk to Mark Steven of the Calgary Stampeders. See the helmet above me there? Where is it? Right there. Yeah, there it is. Mark Steven of the Calgary Stampeders. So he's going to join us, the voice of the Stamps. We're going to hear from Tyler Dunn, Go Long, UnfilteredTD.com. He created that for long-form journalism covering the NFL. He's blown a couple of stories up, including dysfunction in Jerry's world again with the Dallas Cowboys. He will join me. We're also going to chat with Ry Pathakis, who's the manager of the Regina Red Sox, who lead the WCBL, first in the WCBL. And we'll hear from the guy who I talked about, Mason Nias, quarterbacks coach for UBC. Has gone to the Vanier Cup 3 years in a row. We'll get his twice as a player and once as a coach. We'll get his take on the Can West. We'll get his take on what we can do to get more people engaged, younger people engaged with this league we love. I only bitch about this league because I love this league so much. Like it's actually why I'm sitting here. If Ballsy, tell your story. This is why I'm sitting here, right here, because I call it like I see it. I don't candy coat anything. There's one thing about me that is true. When I leave a room, you're going to know how I feel. And I'm not going to tell you one thing, and I'm not going to go over there and say another thing. If I think you're an asshole, I'll tell you you're an asshole, but I'll say I like this about you. I'll give you a crap sandwich. You did this good. You did this shitty. You did this good. Hey, I don't like what you're doing. I don't agree with that. That's what I do. Those aren't the greatest 15 points ever scored. That's not what I'm going to say when the team loses, okay? And I'm going to be fair, just like I am here. I'm fair. I'm not cheering for the Rough Riders. I could care less if they go 16-2 or 2-16, but a spade's a spade, and they are 4-0. They are playing great football on defense. They're lucky they have great defense because they wouldn't have won that game today. But Shea Patterson didn't hurt them. He didn't hurt them. He helped them when he had to. He used his legs, so I give them kudos. But I'm here because I call it like I see it, and I hope that's what you appreciate. But I do it because I love the league, and not a lot of people love this league anymore, or they are indifferent to it. And when it's gone, baby. And we've got 7 of the 9 teams have great stadiums and great atmospheres. Montreal's got a great setting. The stadium's an absolute dump. Calgary is a dump. The stadium's a dump. You know, Calgary's a progressive city. It's funny. Calgary brags about being this progressive city, and they are. And I love Calgary. My son's going there to play with the Dinos. My brother lives there. But they've got the shittiest stadiums, the hockey rink and the football stadium. Now, the football stadium's on UFC campus, and I think if I'm led to believe the university has a lot to do with it, and the universities are run by mostly, I can say it, they're run by mostly liberal people that don't care about sports. They don't care about sports. They don't give a shit about sports. They barely treat. It's why I sent my kid to the United States to begin with, because for the coaches in youth sports, the players in youth sports, they work their ass off. The people above them barely treat it better than intramurals. And that's a fact. My kid's coming back here because he has a dream to play in the Canadian Football League, and he wants to play Canadian football. He wants to get used to playing Canadian football again as a defensive back, and he likes the coaching staff that is there in Calgary. He also likes Scott Flory. He also likes Blake Nail. Mark McConkey's been good to him. There's some good coaches in the Can West. Chris Morris. We've talked to them all. But it's the people above them that don't really give a shit about football. And that's the thing that kills me, man. That's the other thing. I'm talking a lot here. I should quit. But that's the other thing that kills me is this is the one segment of the sports world in Canada that just gets continually beaten down. Oh, wow, we don't need a ratio. Oh, it's Bush League protecting Canadian jobs. They do it in soccer, in the Premier Soccer leagues. They do it in rugby in other countries. They have so many import players, and then the rest are the rest of their players are protected. But in the CFL, it's bad. Oh, bad for Canada. Oh, Canadians this, Canadians that. Get out of here. I'm tired of hearing all that shit. We play good football. It's the best brand of football. Get out to an RM. I'll tell you what, if you're in the Regina area, do yourself a favor. Sunday to Wednesday, the Canada Cup, U16. I think it's U16 for sure. Could be U18, forgive me. But it's going on at Leibel Field. Go to that setting. Go check it out. It's a great time to watch that football. Then go watch yourself some U Sports football. I'm not going to tell you U Sports football is better than D1 football. I'm not going to say that. The level of competition across the board is better in D1 football. But there are players in youth sports that could easily play D1 football. Okay. What I will say though is D1 football is boring compared to youth sports football. And the NFL, outside of your elite, the NFL isn't so much better than the CFL in terms of their talent, from 0 to 7 on every roster. And then after that, it's pretty normal, pretty even. It's just marketing. It's perception. It's the party. It's the bells and whistles. We need it to be a party. In fact, people won't like this, but I went to a Rams and Chargers game. They were playing music. They were spinning tunes between every play. And we need to do that. That needs to be going. And I know they got 40 seconds, but it needs to be a party. It needs to be like a lacrosse game. We got to get the young people involved. I really believe that. I really believe that. I told my son, if you're lucky, you'll get into the league and maybe you'll play a few years and maybe you'll be in the part of the league where it's going to be a renaissance and it's just going to take off and get back to where it was. Or it's going to be done. That's how close we are. That's how close we are. Don't think we're not. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. That is the truth. Anyway, that'll do it for my time. When we reconvene tomorrow, got a great show lined up. I hope you check this out in podcast form. You're going to have to give me a little bit to post it because I am my only. But it will be up. This will be up, and all our shows will be up. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Or you could just watch this again in replay on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Ballsy Uncut. Want to thank everybody for weighing in here and for staying with me, man. This is outstanding. This is outstanding. I knew this would take off, but I'm just happy that you guys are enjoying this. Tell all your friends. Honestly, tell all your friends. One other thing. Can I say one other thing? Yeah, I'm going to say one other thing. Speaking of the CFL, somebody tell somebody at the CFL that it's not, it does nothing for you on the replay to show me the booth if I can't hear the audio. What is the point? I don't want to see guys huddled around a screen. What the fuck does that show me? Am I the only one? Like, give me the audio. You got Andy Fantus in there. Andy Fantus is going to be great at that job if he isn't already. But why couldn't we get a rules analyst like the NFL has to sit in on TSN and they go to him and they talk? Like, that's how you get fans engaged. Or let's have the microphone in there and hear him talking to the ref. That's one thing the spring leagues did well. That back and forth, that's what they did well. Otherwise, it'd be like going in here. What's Ballsy doing? It's stupid. Anyway. Common sense isn't very common. That'll do it for my time. I do appreciate it. You can follow me on all the social media packages. And I will tell you this right now. The biggest game of the summer, I'll have everything you need for the biggest game of the summer. The big one, the 59th annual. I'll have everything you need. And I'll have a contest where you can get involved in that coming up here in August. Okay. I'd like to thank Manny Arsenault, and I thank you, whoever you are, for consuming this and however you consume it. I really appreciate it. Till next time, which will be tomorrow at 4.